What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the White Belt Mentality Podcast. I am your host, Anthony, and what I thought we would talk about today is how sometimes a singular event, a conversation, can really be the difference in how your life ends up being. And what I mean by that is I'm going to tell the story about how I got into martial arts and kind of the origin story of how this came to be a career for me and how this ended up being honestly the passion that I have and the main thing that makes me who I am and who I've been, right? So, I've been doing martial arts since I was 11 years old, and at that time, I had just recently moved to a small town of about 14,000 people. We had some friends that lived in that town, and we thought it'd be a good change for us. At the time, like I was doing okay in school. I was going from about sixth to seventh grade, and I had fine grades and everything, and my attitude was kind of just not the best, right? And so my mom thought it'd be best to put me in a different town and have a fresh start, right? I did boxing for a little bit. There was a gym that was right next to the middle school that I was going to, and I thought it was okay, but I wasn't really the biggest fan of just doing that, and it was kind of just like a gym, like in the studio area, so I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Um, but I was part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, basically where I had somebody hang out with me and spend time with me and kind of get that role model going, right? Well, they were doing a fundraiser at a bowling alley, and I didn't have anything to do that weekend, so um, as most weekends when I was 12 years old. Um, but I ended up going and participating and had a fun time. And they were doing obviously fundraising, so they were doing giveaways and things like that. And they were giving out two prizes, one of them being a 4-week trial at a martial arts studio and a free uniform. And whoever bowled the next strike got to pick between the prizes, right? And incidentally, I bowled a strike and got ended up getting to pick. And what's funny is like at this point in my life now, I don't even remember what that other prize was. So I don't even know if it was better than that trial. I just thought, hey, martial arts, that's kind of cool. I always liked watching Karate Kid and Ninja Turtles and all that stuff, right? Typically reasons why like kids get into martial arts, right? I was also really big into Power Rangers, all that stuff. So I told my mom about it. She thought it'd be a good idea. She knew I was kind of done with the boxing, and I really wasn't into other sports because I was a relatively chubby, uncoordinated kid. So other sports that she tried getting me in, I really wasn't the biggest fan of. So, we went over there, and it's funny because the instructor that did my trial, he's still teaching to this day. He's still a really well known martial artist. His name is Jason Flame. He's out of Moore Park, California, and Master Jason or Master Flame, if you're listening to this podcast and you're seeing me talk about you, thank you for getting me my start. I know I didn't stick with your school, but hey, right, we're still in martial arts, right? So you still made a good impact on my life. But he just had me come in, got me the uniform. We did a little private trial on the other side of the dojo, and did basic calisthenics. He kind of wanted to see where my fitness was, and he taught me a couple of basic things like a jab and a cross, and I believe he taught me a front kick. And then he had me hop into class, and they were going over their kata and things like that, and I thought that was relatively cool. I liked doing that, and I was really excited because I ended up doing it at home and kind of showing my family and friends kind of, hey, this is what I learned today. This is the pattern I learned, and I thought it was really cool. And so we ended up going to the next class for the second time, and did the full class. And he actually had me go up to the front. I broke a board and he got my white belt, right? So my very first belt in martial arts was through him and whatnot. And I thought it was cool, but the problem was that my mom, I was like 11, 12 years old, and my mom's schedule didn't really work well to go to that school full time. So definitely it was something that I wish we could have taken more advantage of, but unfortunately the distance just wasn't there. Couldn't get anybody to take me at that time. And so we looked for something more in the town that we were living in. And there was one martial arts school in that town of 14,000 people. It had been around since 1996, and this was 2008 at the time. So, being around 12 years at that point was pretty good. And I remember I walked in and I saw a couple of my friends that I had seen from, or classmates who would later become my friends. I saw them at the school, and I thought it was cool that I could have friends that I go to school with and be able to take class with. One of the funniest memories is the first person I saw when I walked in the door. He was doing the warm up for class because he was assisting as an instructor at that time. Would soon be my best friend that I had up until the time we graduated high school, and we're still friends. We don't talk as much anymore, but he would be my best friend that I would go to every tournament with, every class. We were doing everything together. So it's really funny how things happen. But, we met the instructor, and he was awesome, and talked kind of about what we could do and things like that. And my mom, I didn't find out this late until way later when I started looking at the contracts a little bit more, and I was already teaching at the time, was that my mom, right off the bat, signed me up for a 3-year Black Belt Club contract. She already felt like this was going to be a good decision for me, that she decided to just do a 3-year agreement right then and there. But I got my start, and like they say, the rest is history, right? I've had the opportunity to not only get my black belt with them, which was in Kempo, but I got my second degree in them and was able to learn pretty much all that was required in that system. I had the opportunity when I moved to Vegas to do Taekwondo, and got my recommended with them, which I always tell people how I got that, because I think it's really important, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I got a black belt in Taekwondo. I think it's important for honesty and integrity reasons to tell people, like, look, my previous experience at that point, I had already been teaching and doing martial arts for 12 years at that point. Um, my experience was high enough that they were like, okay, you can be a recommended black belt, and then we'll just go ahead and work your way up to a full first degree black. All right. So I always tell people I'm a recommended black belt in Taekwondo, and how I got it, because of the fact of like integrity. I don't want people to just think, yeah, I worked my butt off for many, many years to get a black belt in Taekwondo. Right. Um, you know, but COVID happened, and I kind of got in my own head, and that honestly could be another episode that I can talk about, because that's something kind of that I regret. I really regret just kind of quitting martial arts for that period of time, and not really completing my goal, which was to get my black belt in that system. But never say never, right? After I took a break for a while, I really wanted to get back into martial arts, and I was looking for a new job. And it actually allowed me the ability and the opportunity to actually find a franchise that I would work with for about 3 years and whatnot. And I got my black belt in that. And that was really awesome, because I got to learn things like Krav Maga, which I'd always been interested in. I really got into Muay Thai kickboxing and whatnot, and just really learning that style of training. And I got my black belt with them and whatnot, and really got to learn the inside and outs of the business, more or less than just teaching martial arts, because I had been doing it for a really long time by that point, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing in that franchise, I already knew, right? Nothing's original in martial arts, right? We take from everybody, so we can always be better, right? But that was something that I feel was important for me, because of the fact that I got to learn things like promotional booths, birthdays, ways to market it, like towards marketing, like all these different things that I never thought of, because of the fact that I was always just on the mat teaching classes, right? And now, I am no longer with that franchise. I left I'd say about coming up on 3 weeks now. as of the time of this recording. And part of the reason I left was just because, and this is definitely can be another podcast episode as well, but just to keep it short and sweet, um, I felt that I wanted to continue to evolve and develop myself and improve on other aspects of my life that was not just my job, right? There are many people out there who they work to live, right? Or they live to work. And, the people that I would surround myself with in that sphere, some of them definitely live to work, and that's fine if you don't have a family. If you just want to go ahead and be as successful as possible financially, that's fine. But ultimately, I feel if you have a ton of money, but you don't have people who care about you, if you don't have people that you can spend time with, if you are not in good shape, like, you're not doing well. Like, you're not successful. Yeah, you have a lot of money, but or you work a lot, but you're just bragging to people saying, "Yeah, I work 80 hours a week." Like, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, So I made that conscious decision, and it was a tough decision. Don't get me wrong, but I think in the space I am now, I feel a lot better. I'm able to spend more time with my family. Right now, it's a bit of a different situation, just because there are other aspects of my life going on that are making it a little difficult. But we're getting through it. Life happens. Um, but I definitely feel like this next chapter of my life is important. I'm getting the opportunity because my schedule now is a lot more open to where I can train. I'm doing more Muay Thai. I really wanted to better my game on that, and I've always found it fun. When I was with that previous franchise, I got the opportunity to really train in Muay Thai, and now I'm getting to work with coaches who are prize-winning fighters and people who are renowned for what they do. And I'm also getting the opportunity to finally train in jiu-jitsu, which was something that for a long time I have always wanted to do, but a couple of factors were things like money, schedule was really hard, right? And for me, I can't see myself being that guy that goes in at like 5:36 in the morning to go do jujitsu. I can't. But more props to anybody that does that, because that is a really tough thing to go ahead and do. But I'm getting to do jujitsu now and really improve that game, because I had done things here and there, but I'm really glad to be able to participate in classes, really get into rolling and things like that. So definitely, it's been a good positive change, and I'm getting to put a little bit more focus into what I'm trying to create, which is the Sensei Anthony brand, and really try to help not only students, really get into martial arts, and I really want to make a program for students to be able to do martial arts who may not have the ability because of location or, time, scheduling, whatever it is, right? I really want to make it possible that anybody can do martial arts, because I've seen so many people who want to do it, but then certain limitations are making them not able to, right? And then at the end of the day, too, I want to make sure that instructors are becoming better. Don't get me wrong. Like, I make mistakes. I will always admit that I'm still have that white belt mentality, like I put it on my podcast title. But it's true. Instructors need to continue to evolve and get better. They need to put more emphasis on improving and getting better and staying open-minded, and that is entirely what this podcast is the ability to discuss and think different ways, because ultimately I think the biggest problem with martial artists right now is they have the biggest egos. They are not willing to check themselves at the door sometimes when it comes to being wrong, or admitting like, hey, maybe my way doesn't work anymore, right? I've had many mentors tell me, you gotta either evolve or you dissolve. You gotta grow or you're gonna, go, right? There's many different ways of saying that, but Um, I'm definitely excited for this next chapter in my journey. It's been a long journey so far. I started martial arts when I was 11 years old, and I am now 30. So it's definitely been quite a time, and I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be doing in this new year and what I'm going to be looking to accomplish, and um, definitely having the support of anybody that's listening to this or watching this. Right, if you're watching it on YouTube, is awesome. And I just want to thank you guys for supporting and being there on the journey with me, because it's been a bumpy road sometimes, but it's also been a fun road too. So, all right, guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to follow the podcast. If you're listening to this on Spotify, go ahead and give that a good rating. Make sure to let us know that you're enjoying listening to me ramble on about a bunch of different things. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to go ahead and like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel. Also, if you guys follow me on YouTube, I am looking to do weekly classes. It's just right now, I'm in the process of getting the space all figured out, so that way we can go ahead and do like a weekly class, and we can go ahead and have some fun with that. But also, don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon. There's not a lot of content on there right now because I got to go ahead and film it. But we will be doing like more in-depth things like, kicking tutorials and different things like that, weapons, all that good stuff that you guys want. And if there's anything you guys definitely want, feel free to reach out to me. You can always email me at senseianthony94@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and just send me a DM in one of my socials like Instagram, things like that. But hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day and week, and we shall see you guys next time.